So today let's take a look at another tool that I quite like. It's free. It's called OBS, which I believe stands for Open Broadcaster Software, although I often call it Open Broadcasting System, but OBS, Open Broadcaster Software. And what it is a free tool that lets you use your computer as a broadcast switching, title generation mess. It is incredibly complex what it can do, but it's also simple in some ways. So, for example, you can see here, this is my OBS screen, and I can bring up Team 1, Team 2, and a score. I can come over here and change the score of Team 1 to 8. Oh, maybe I shouldn't. There we go. Save. And then Team 1 score updates. And I can make the score go away. So that's really basic, but if you replace Team 1 and Team 2 and the scores with any number of other things, like lower third names and titles and that kind of thing, you can do a whole lot with it. So let me show you how that works. So over here, you see we have scenes, and then sources, an audio mixer, transition type, and then some controls. A scene is a collection of things that happen on the screen. Sources are the individual things that make up that collection of things that happen on the screen. So we're going to bring in an input source. In this case, it's the switcher, which is a video capture device. We'll look into some of these other things later, but for now, video capture device. This is the ATEM Pro. And we're going to bring it in as the Blackmagic design, not the web camera. That was terrible, wasn't it? That's why we use this. So here's a Blackmagic design. This is the camera we saw earlier. Now we're going to make another scene, and I'm going to call this scene scores. Maybe I'll call it scoreboard. There we go. And inside this scene, I'm going to bring the previous scene of input. We're going to add an existing input scene, and there we go. Right now, there's no difference between these two. The scoreboard scene is simply taking the input scene and including it as part of its layout. Off we go then into creating a text file. And we're going to call this Team 1. And I'm just going to type in Team 1. You can change the fonts, you can change the colors. I'm just going to leave it simple for now. And I'm going to grab the little handles on the red box and put it about 100 from the corners and 100. There we go. That's close enough. So there we have Team 1. I'm going to then go to this source and I'm going to copy and then paste as duplicate. So now I have Team 1, 2, which is not helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that one to Team 2. I'm going to double click it to bring up the text. And in this text box here, I can change it to Team 2. And because I already resized Team 1 and I copied it, I retain whatever formatting decisions I've made. I didn't really make many, but I retained them, which is nice. So 100 pixels from each side, the side and the bottom. So now it's about in the same place. Team 1, Team 2. So I'm going to go back to Team 1. I'm going to duplicate that yet again. Paste. Actually, I can just paste a duplicate because it's already copied. And I'm going to rename this one. Rename Team 1 Score. Go in here, and now I'm not going to actually change the text. Instead, I'm going to read the text for this part of the title from a file. And those files are the text files you saw on the side. Those are on my desktop, so I'm going to select channel 1. And now I have channel 1, file 1. And now I have a score that is referenced from this text file here. So if I set that back to 0 and I hit Control S for save, after a moment, the title will update. So let's make the score a little bit bigger than everything else, because if that's what we're interested in, is the score. We'll kind of center that a bit, so that's 45 pixels above. Now we'll copy that one to retain the formatting decisions that we've made, and paste as a duplicate. Team 1, score 2, that's not right, but you know, easy enough to rename. Team 2 score. And we'll open up that by double clicking on it, read from text file, and change that to text file number 2. And now we move that over. We keep it 45 pixels above the bottom and about the same space from the team. So I could just switch back and forth now between the input scene and the scoreboard scene, and this is what you would get. The input scene, scoreboard scene. Let me click off of the, there we go, now we don't have the, so input scene, scoreboard scene. And you see how that fades in? That fade is happening here. It's a fade or a cut. That scene transition right there, and we can make it take longer. Let's make it take 1000 milliseconds or 1 second. So now it's a much longer, smoother fade. But that's not what I showed you earlier. What I showed you earlier was the title itself was moving in and out. And to do that, we need to put all of those titles together into a group. So in our sources here again, we're going to hit the plus button, and we're going to make a group. And we'll call that scores lower third. Now we have a group, and I'm going to shift click to select these 4 items, and I'm going to drag them into the lower third group. Now I can turn the whole group on and off by hitting this little I button here. If I want to, I can individually turn them on and off, but right at the moment, I'm only interested in turning the whole group on and off. Now, we're going to go into settings here and set up a hotkey so that we can do this without having to actually find that little I and click on it. So here in settings, we go to hotkeys. And this is a ridiculously long list. It's a little bit weird. I wish it wasn't this complex looking. But here, if you scroll down, you can see your scene lists over here, and inside the scenes are the sources. So here we have show lower thirds. I'm going to make that shift 1, and hide lower thirds. I'm going to make that control 1. Hit apply, hit OK, click off of this somewhere so you're not seeing the red. And now if I hit control 1 and shift 1, that title, whatever we've set up to do that, will come in and out. Whatever's in that group will come in and out. Cool, huh? But that's not the end of it. We can also have specific transitions as it comes in and as it goes out. So check this out. If we right click on it, we can see it says show transition. Let's slide that, and we're going to slide it up. Again, right click, hide transition, slide. We'll slide it down. Now, when I hit control 1 to make it go away, it slides down. When I hit shift 1 to make it come up, it slides up. But now you see how when it goes down, it doesn't go all the way down to the bottom of the screen. Right? It just kind of cuts off there. That looks a little strange, don't you think? So let's grab the whole group here and move this box right down to the bottom of the screen. It's 100 pixels on that side, 99 on 100 pixels on that side, 99 on the other. And now, since this box goes all the way to the bottom of the screen, when we hide it, we have the titles working the way I showed you at the beginning. That's just a little bit of a look at what can be done. For example, let me add another scene here. Let's call this text share. And we're going to add our original camera input. And we're going to make the input quite a bit smaller. Put it off to the side. Not that far off to the side. Maybe like that. And I believe there's a way to crop. Yeah, if I hold Alt, I can get rid of the part of the image I don't need. So now I'm off to the side properly. Let's make our text file here a little bit larger. This is text 2. And now we're going to add a window capture. And we'll capture the text file. This will give you a list of open windows. So we'll take text file 2 and change the size of it. And now I have notes that I can share with my audience. So that well runs very deep, and there's a lot of complexities to it, especially how you get this into your live broadcast, whether you're using this to broadcast, or you're using an ATEM or another switcher to broadcast. But we've actually used this system to run different sources and different scenes to different televisions around the room. Like I said, it gets pretty deep. So this is just a quick look at what it can do and why I've included it in the training materials that I've put together. Thanks for coming along, and I hope I see you in the next one.